Hello, I'm Sarah Thompson Copsey, and on behalf of Legal Futures, I'd like to welcome you to today's Residential Property Update 2021, the Winter Update. We're going to be looking today at a number of different areas of law to do with residential property. We're going to be looking at some cases on restrictive covenants. That can be useful from the point of view of those both of the benefit of the covenant and those who might want to perhaps develop a little bit of their own land, so back garden type development if you like. We're going to be looking at a couple of rather strange cases on enfranchisement, one which is really awful and just reminds us why we do need change to the law, as well as the right to manage case. Will be a brief review of the Law Commission's proposals, so picking up from the enfranchisement case, and a look at the government's recent, in January, announcement about which parts of the Law Commission's proposals it's proposing to take forward. Not a lot of detail on that, but at least we have something. And we'll also be looking at a number of areas of leases. We'll be looking at user clauses within leases. I think that's just a perennial problem, isn't it? User clauses within leases. We'll be looking at service charges. And we'll be looking at notices. Well, it's a notice under a lease, but actually the law around that applies to all notices served with respect to land. And it's what happens where the person you want to serve has died and probate hasn't yet been granted. So a really overarching decision to finish off with. So without more ado, let's crack on and start with our first restrictive covenant case. Now, just wanted to remind you, the first two cases we're going to be looking at are modifications of covenants and whether or not the person developing land is able to obtain a modification of the covenant. In both cases, the tribunal refuses a modification of the covenant. In fact, in the first case, it's gone all the way to the Supreme Court. So useful lessons there, whether you're talking to a client who wants to develop perhaps their back garden, or sell it off for development purposes, but also useful decisions where your clients have the benefit of restrictive covenants. So we're not looking